What's up, guys? This is Jesse DeRozier with Hydrilla Gorilla Guide Service here in Lake Guntersville. Today's date is November the 8th, 2025, and this is What's on the Deck. So this week, we continue to see the water temperatures drop. We're sitting around 63 degrees currently. Now, that said, we are looking at some major cold front coming in the next couple of days. So it's going to drop some tomorrow. We're going to have a high of around 50. The following 2 days is going to be a lot colder. It's going to drop, I think Monday they're showing a high of around 39, and then starting to come back up a little bit on Tuesday to around 50. And then finally later in the week, it's going to come back up into the 60s. So that cold front is going to drop the water temp a little bit more. However, with the warmer temperatures that we're going to be seeing later in the week, some of that is going to rebound back up. That should kind of get the fishing spurred back into motion, but they're feeding really heavily right now. We've had a dynamite week this past week. We've seen some really big numbers. Thursday was my last trip out with a single client. We caught 72, so they are feeding really, really well right now. So let's go ahead and get started on what lures we use this week to be able to catch our fish. So anytime you're in the fall, you're going to want to keep a topwater on the deck. I don't care if you only keep one or you keep two, three, whatever your choice is, you need to at least keep a topwater on the deck. A couple of my choices is always going to be, the little spitting image. They're keying on a lot of these threadfin right now, the smaller baits, and keeping with that small bait on the top works really, really well in drawing some of those fish into committing to that bait just due to its size. Now the next bait that we've been utilizing is the Berkeley Credge. This bait has done really well for us this year. What I like about it is its simplicity of fishing. It's really good for new clients or new to fishing or inexperienced people. However, if you're even an experienced angler, you'd be crazy not to try it. Now, another topwater I don't have on the deck this week, but one that definitely merits a mention is going to be either a bull shad or a bull wake. Ran really high up in the water column as a topwater bait. The reason why I would throw it right now is, one, to draw a bigger bite. Two is because we've still got these little schools of 6-inch gizzards running around. You're going to see them if you're out in the lake. You'll see them literally come up beside the boat. A lot of them are in 5 to 8 foot little balls of bait. There's only a couple hundred gizzards in that little pod, and all of them are about that 5 to 6 inch range. That being the case, that bull wake really fits the bill for that, to imitate those bait fish, and they're definitely getting eaten right now. So the next bait is going to be a moving bait. One that works really, really well anytime you're in the fall, again, is going to be a lipless. We had some sunny conditions this week, windy conditions part of the days, but this throws really, really well in the wind. And so it works really good to be able to have something that you can throw anytime you've got schooling fish, that you can reach out and get to those fish before you spook them with your trolling motor. The next bait is a downsized version of a jerk bait, and this is one that I've been using for years. It's a little Rapala 3-inch jerk bait, and I don't know if the camera pick it up or not, but I mean the teeth marks that are on that little jerk bait, they will absolutely munch that thing. It's probably one of the smaller jerk baits that you can find. It does have a little rattle in it, so it's not super loud, but it doesn't have weight transfer system. So you're going to have to keep it on a very light action, bait caster. Almost like BFS, or I guess that's what they call it, BFS gear. Or just a light action, or medium, maybe at the most, bait caster, or throw it on an open face. The next bait is one that I've not mentioned yet this year, and it's one that's going to come into play from here through the rest of winter, and that is the little tail spinner. I've only got 2 of my little Georges left now. That's my go-to typically when we get into wintertime. I found this one a couple weeks ago at Academy Sports, and I like the profile of the lure itself, the size of it, and it's a 1/2 ounce, so you can throw it a decent distance, and obviously it's not going to catch much wind, so it sinks really good. It has really good action, so I'm really looking forward to putting that through its paces as the year progresses and seeing how many fish that we can really catch on that, because I absolutely love a tail spinner this time of year. The next baits are more of my search baits. First one is going to be that of a chatterbait. Now, a chatterbait, one, is going to draw a bigger bite, and two, it's going to have that same shad profile. So if you're looking at the overall length of that, you're going to be close to around that gizzard shad size, and that's what I'm looking to imitate. The trailer that I've got on here is the Producer Swimbaits Cheetah. If you notice, it's the wing style jig head minnow style bait. Works really, really good as a chatterbait trailer. So if you have not tried those, I would highly recommend getting some because they're extremely versatile, and I'll get into that in a second. The next bait is going to be my Producer Swimbaits 3.5 inch Swiminator in blue minnow. This is my absolute go-to. My 4-wheel drive out here on the lake, I can throw it through the thickest grass, round docks, stumps, trees, it doesn't matter. This thing comes through anything completely clean. This specific bait I pair with the Owner Flashy Swimmer with a 1/4 ounce weight and the 5/0 hook. That is my absolute go-to. Now, the one thing that I do make sure anytime that I'm running these baits is, because we are around a lot of bait fish, to help get your lure to stand out from the pack, definitely take the time and add a little bit of Thump Gel to the lure, because it looks different. It's not their natural forage. They can tell the difference between that and what they're eating. So adding the scent to it definitely will help them to realize that this is something that they can commit to actually eating and actually be able to catch those fish. They can get extremely tough otherwise, and it can be a nightmare sometimes just throwing through the schools and you're not getting bit at all. Do yourself a favor and add some scent to your bait. The next baits are both jig head minnows. Now, the first one is this little 4-inch jig head minnow that I've been using, and it's paired on a 3/16 ounce Dirty Jigs guppy head. And the one thing that I'll tell you is, look at the teeth marks on that bait. You can see the tear in the plastic, but it ain't going nowhere. The reason why? That right there, the Avid Angler Solutions fishing glue, makes a huge difference, guys. I'm telling you, that one swim bait has probably caught 35 to 40 fish. That is no joke. I have fished these until literally the tails get torn off. There will be no eyes left in the bait. It's torn all the way up the head. It doesn't matter. That glue will not let go. The stuff's absolutely phenomenal, and it does save a lot of money from having to replace your soft plastics constantly. The last bait is, again, the Producer Swimbaits Cheetah. Now, I made a modification to this one. As I showed you, they come with wings. And so the versatility of this bait is the fact that you can work it right out of the package as that hover style. You know, it's got the wings sticking out, so it's going to grab water as it drops. It's going to allow for it to hover slowly above these fish, almost kind of like a stall, you know, when you're stalling a jerk bait or something like that. It's moving very, very slowly above these fish and allowing them to come up. Works great in the wintertime. Right now, I'm wanting these baits to come through the water column very quickly. I don't want them to get a good look at it, and in order for me to do that, I need that bait to have a little bit different action. So the modification that I'm doing is taking a pair of scissors and laying it on the side of the bait and just trimming trimming the wings off of that bait. Once I do that, now I have the same exact profile as the freeloader. And so instead of having that hovering action, now I've got this rocking action. And a lot of people think that those wings make that bait rock. That's not the case at all. You think of fluid dynamics. Anything that sticks out in the water gives it stability because of the resistance of the water catching against underneath it. So the wings actually create more of a hovering effect. And that's what you're looking for in the wintertime when it gets cold and you're wanting that bait to literally just stay right above those fish. Right now, I want that rocking action, and I want that bait moving towards me a lot quicker. So that's the reason for that modification. But that cheetah allows for me to be able to do that. I can have one pack of jig head minnows in my boat, but be able to get both actions out of that bait just by doing that simple modification. I hope this information helps you out this week, guys. I know that we got this cold front. It's going to change things a little bit for a couple of days, but as the tail end of the week gets back and the water temperatures warm up, fish are going to be back chewing again. So hope to see you out in the water this week, and until then, or until next week, tight lines.